Have you ever heard of glossophobia? Although you may not know what this term means, you have probably experienced it before. Glossophobia is the fear of public speaking. Countless numbers of people have felt the symptoms associated with this common fear. As administrative support professionals, we can be called upon at any given time to present information and or speak on behalf of the executive that we support. We have to be able to present a topic with confidence, clarity, and enthusiasm. If this is not something you do in your current assignment, it may be an area that will be required in a higher level position. If you have any aspirations of serving in a role with additional leadership responsibility, this will be a likely requirement of your new position. As someone who needs to present and speak before audiences on a regular basis, I use a number of techniques to make my presentations flow seamlessly and project myself in a positive light. Here are a few of my top tips. First, you should take advantage of opportunities to present on a regular basis. The more you speak before others, the more comfortable you become. When I think back to how I presented years ago and where I am today, I have come a long way. I suffered from extreme nervousness, dry mouth, and trembling hands. Today, I find myself seeking out assignments for public speaking and looking forward to the opportunities to do it. I'm excited to share information before audiences, and I don't suffer physically as I used to. Next, I ensure that I am comfortable and knowledgeable about the information I am presenting. I am usually speaking on topics that I am passionate about and have firsthand experience with. This makes it much easier because I can project my enthusiasm and knowledge simultaneously. If I were to make a mistake or forget something, I could quickly get back on track because the information is second nature to me. In the event when I am called to present on a topic that I'm not familiar with, I spend a great deal of time before I speak preparing so that I am comfortable and well-versed in the material. Those instances require practice, practice, and more practice. Another way to ensure a strong presentation is to take a presentation techniques class or training workshop, preferably one that records you and allows for analysis of your skills. You can do so either in a classroom with organizations such as Dale Carnegie Training or virtually on platforms such as this one. I did this very early on in my career, and it was extremely helpful. I received invaluable feedback in the class. This training also helped me to begin to get comfortable in front of the camera, which has been very helpful, even up to today. Lastly, I have made it a point to study some of the great speakers of our time. I have watched countless videos and recordings of famous and everyday people who speak publicly. I watch how they make eye contact, interact with the audience, the organization of their material, and use of their body language. More than likely, as you move throughout your career as an administrative support professional, you will be called upon to present information before an audience. This is a proposition that may make you anxious, but can also be something extremely helpful to you personally and professionally. Why not be ready when the opportunity presents itself? Or better yet, why not create the opportunity for yourself? You will grow and excel in ways you hadn't anticipated. Today, it would be very hard not to have an online presence in one way or another. Some of us have a personal profile that can be found on the internet, and others are even in charge of our business's social networking accounts. We can't avoid online connection, as this is the way our society is structured. It is incumbent that all employees practice good online etiquette. I believe it is extremely important in the case of administrative support professionals, as we are not only representing ourselves online, but we are also representing the bosses that we support. There are a number of sites such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter that allow us to network within our professional communities. It is important in today's highly visible society that we ensure our profiles on any of these sites are representative of who we want to be seen as a person as well as an employee. We should remember sometimes it is hard for people to distinguish from the two. It is especially hard for administrative support people, as it is automatically assumed that you are speaking on behalf of the people you support. You will be judged by what you say and do in pictures and videos online. Social networking can be a very powerful way to connect with people on a variety of subjects. I have personally used my social networking sites to publicize my work and my areas of expertise. This has led to paid speaking engagements, volunteer opportunities, and powerful connections with the right people. In order to always put a positive self-image on social networking sites, I practice the following principles. Refrain from discussing religious or political views. Be cognizant of the types of personal photos used. Nothing too sexy. Ensure you would be comfortable with any of your words being published in the newspaper for all the world to see before you post them. Use proper spelling and grammar whenever posting or sending direct messages. Treat people as you would want to be treated. There have also been instances where social networking and poor online etiquette has led to disastrous work outcomes for individuals. For instance, there have been many situations where people have expressed personal views that did not align with their employer's beliefs and have resulted in the person's dismissal. As administrative support professionals, we are automatically seen as representatives of the people that we support. We want to always do our best to present a positive image online. There's very little margin for error. Remember, once something is out there in cyberspace, there is no taking it back, so be sure you are okay with what you put out there. At the same time, have fun exploring the opportunities social networking can offer. You might connect with someone in your industry that you may never have had access to otherwise. Unfortunately, as administrative support professionals, we bear the brunt of rude, disrespectful behavior in office environments from time to time. Most times it is intentional, but there are occasions when the offender doesn't realize they are coming across that way. In either case, we have to be prepared to respond in a way that is professional and courteous, even though the behavior we have been subjected to is far from that. We do this because not only are we representing ourselves, but we are representing the individual we support. Here are some strategies to keep in mind when dealing with disrespectful people. First, really listen to what they are saying. Oftentimes, the rudeness they are displaying has absolutely nothing to do with you personally. You are more than likely bearing the brunt for a previous encounter they have had with someone else, or maybe even a personal matter they are dealing with. Through active listening, I try to see if I can pick up on what the issue really is. Then I know how to address it. Also, I try to keep in mind that we all have bad days from time to time, and therefore, I try to empathize with them. Next, don't allow their behavior to change your behavior in that moment. When we react to a person's rudeness, we are essentially letting them have control over us. I don't ever want that to be the case. I want to always be responsible for my emotions whenever possible. The more calm you remain, the better chance you have at diffusing the situation. Also, discuss the encounter with someone you trust. I do this to gain perspective on the situation. The person may also have some productive advice or suggestions in moving forward. Finally, if the person is within your organization, allow some time to pass prior to confronting the behavior. Before you give that person some feedback on how the interaction made you feel, wait 24 hours or until your emotions have calmed down. Then be sure to let that person know how their actions made you feel. If the behavior continues, you may need to escalate it to your executive or involve human resources if appropriate. As administrative support professionals, it is important to institute professional boundaries in our work environments. One such safeguard includes how you deal with disrespectful behavior. It will inevitably happen regardless of where you work. Therefore, have a response plan in place before it occurs. By doing so, you will present a productive professional image. As administrative support professionals, we make countless decisions throughout our day that affect us, our executive, and the organizations we work for. It is critical that our decision-making skills are sharp and that we know how to make the best decisions quickly. We cannot be paralyzed by fear or uncertainty when making decisions either. Instead, we need to have confidence, information, and clarity to move forward in the most appropriate way. Here are some of my tips on how I employ good decision-making in my everyday work. As an administrative support professional, I have access to a large and varied amount of information on many different areas of my business. I make it a point to verse myself in the aspects of the work that my executive does on a daily basis. I read emails, reports, policy and procedures, and several other documents that keep me informed and up to date. By having this base of knowledge, I can make confident decisions that are based in information and less concerned with emotion. Secondly, when appropriate, I solicit feedback and input from reliable sources. We have many subject matter experts in my school district. I am constantly learning the right people to talk to for various situations. These experts are extremely helpful when it comes to certain topics, and I am very comfortable with relying on their expertise. Next, it's important to listen to my gut instincts. We all have an inner voice that is intuitive and lets us know when something seems off or not quite right. It doesn't appear in every instance, but in the instances where it does, I don't ignore it. I try to get to the heart of why I am feeling a certain way by researching and asking a lot of questions. More often than not, my instinct was correct. Something else I do to make good decisions is to explore a number of possible outcomes and what the consequences of each would be. This is essentially starting with the end in mind and working backwards to reach a conclusion. As I examine those scenarios, I then look to narrow down which ones will more than likely not be the best way to go for any number of reasons. This helps me to narrow the possibilities and choose one that I can confidently get behind. Lastly, I do my best not to let fear get in the way of making my decisions. I have been fortunate enough to work for individuals who have supported my decisions and never made me regret taking action on various issues. They have instead empowered me to take ownership of my decisions, regardless of the outcome. Coming from this vantage point, I am emboldened in my decision-making. If you find yourself in a situation with a boss who is not very supportive, I encourage you to speak up, do your research, and be proactive in your daily work. As you excel in your role and are able to show that with tangible results, that may help the person you work for see more clearly the value in your work and your ability to handle greater levels of responsibility. Decision-making for administrative support professionals is something we must participate in frequently and bravely. By putting sound practices in place for making decisions, we can be more sure that we are moving ahead in a way that our outcomes will be positive. If you are an administrative support professional, you also share the title of project manager, whether you have formal training in this area or not. Today, we are called upon to manage a variety of projects in multiple different areas in the course of a day. We can be planning an event, arranging a travel itinerary, preparing briefing materials, all while performing our regular daily office functions. In order to do everything successfully and not let something get missed, it's important to practice some basics of project management. First, we need to have a clear list of our priorities for our projects and know when each of them is due. Although all projects are important, some of them have a higher priority level than others. This is something that we will know instinctively, and others will need to sit down and have a conversation with our executive or the person who is in charge of the deliverable. If we are unclear on any project, we run into the danger of missing an important deadline, so this is a very important first step. Secondly, we need to ensure that we are clear on what the deliverable is. If we are under one impression for a project and the person requesting the work believes we are doing something different, this can make for a misunderstanding that can result in disaster for all parties concerned. The way I handle this is by taking meticulous notes when I am asked to complete a task. I then read back to the person what they said to me to make sure I am in agreement. This is when I am instructed verbally. If the task is being given to me by email, I do the same in a series of emails to ensure I have complete agreement on the directive. I have found that I have experienced very few miscommunications using this method. Next, if I see that a deadline is in jeopardy of being missed, I have a conversation with the affected parties immediately. This may result in other projects being put on hold while I focus my entire attention to the priority. This is not a decision that I make on my own. It is one that requires negotiation, communication, and flexibility for all parties. Sometimes we may have to bring in another administrative support professional to help ensure we can complete the project on time and within the guidelines that have been agreed upon. Lastly, I make sure that I close out the project so that I know it is complete. For example, in the case of planning a trip for my executive, the trip is not totally complete until all expenses have been submitted, reimbursements made if any, and all files, electronic and paper, have been filed accordingly. I want to ensure I can easily track this trip if I need to duplicate it in the future, and that I can provide any paperwork that is needed for future audit issues if they arise. It is very easy for administrative support professionals to become overwhelmed and disorganized, given the number of tasks we are responsible for in any given day. By putting into practice some basic project management principles, we can save time, communicate effectively, avoid missed deadlines, and keep all things we are managing intact. Changes within an organization happen on a regular basis, and administrative support professionals are normally one of the few people within the office who are aware of their impending occurrence. These changes can be big or small, and more than likely will have an impact on employees in some way. How do we navigate through these changes in a manner that keeps stress levels low, allows us to remain productive, and improves our resilience? First, it is important to learn as much as possible about the reason for the changes. Oftentimes, when we know the why behind a decision, it's easier to accept. I spend a great deal of time learning and understanding the organizational decisions that my executive is involved in. Secondly, in my mind, I always try to believe that company executives are making decisions that are in the best interest of all the affected stakeholders. Those stakeholders include shareholders, customers, and employees. They all have a vested interest in the longevity of our business, and all decisions will have some impact on each group. Thirdly, I try to stay as flexible as possible in my thinking and continue to embrace the unknown. Throughout my career, I have found that being stuck in only one way of doing things is a recipe for frustration and negativity. That doesn't serve any person well, especially administrative support professionals. We need to be supportive of changes coming through our offices, whether we totally agree with them or not. Our attitude and ability to quickly adjust to these shifts will help others in the organization do the same. This is especially true when it comes to changing and emerging technology. With the frequency and speed of change in that arena, we have to be willing to embrace new ways of functioning regularly and quickly. Lastly, communicating often is critical during times of change. As I mentioned earlier, I spend as much time as possible talking with my executive about impending organizational shifts. Sometimes things change minute by minute. Without constant communication, I could miss something important and then not be able to react appropriately. I avoid this by asking pertinent questions and having constant check-ins. This also helps to keep my executive on track so that she doesn't miss something critical. During these times, I communicate, and communicate some more. Administrative support professionals are on the front lines of change, whether we want to be or not. It's important that we become comfortable working through these times of change and helping our executives execute them. We can do this by effectively communicating, learning as much as we can, remaining flexible, and operating from a base of positivity. This will help you to shine in times of uncertainty. Have you ever heard a conversation within your office that wasn't complimentary to one of your coworkers? Or witnessed the effects of office politics on the way a situation was handled? Or been the subject of talk that was circulating around your office? If you have worked in any office environment for any period of time, you have more than likely experienced office politics and gossip. You don't have to participate in it, but you will find yourself surrounded by it in one way or another. How do we, as administrative support professionals, steer clear of this type of dynamic and keep ourselves insulated from its effect? Is that even possible? I think that it definitely is possible, and here's how to do so. I first try to maintain a healthy, positive energy in my office environment. I speak well of people and always try to turn a negative into a positive. As I have created this type of culture, I find that it is a protection against gossiping around me. This works the majority of the time. On the rare occasions where it does not, I am willing to confront the negativity and ask that we refrain from that kind of talk around me. If I am in a place outside of my own office environment, then I physically remove myself from the conversation when appropriate. Next, I do my best to treat people with dignity and respect, regardless of the title that they hold. Office politics are largely based on perceived power and one's relationship to the hierarchy in the organizational chart. I focus on the importance of everyone's contribution to the organization and the power of their voice. I also make it a point to really listen to people when they are talking, and especially when they are dealing with a potentially harmful situation. I counsel them when they ask for it and assist wherever possible. As a person of influence in my office, I know that I have the ability to bring things to my executive's attention and they will be acted upon. I can often diffuse situations before they are out of hand or have a detrimental effect on morale in the office. My boss expects me to do this and understands when I get her involved, it's a high priority item. Unfortunately, office politics and gossip are inevitable and predictable within our workspaces. Although we can't control what other people say or do, We are always in control of our response to it. And we can choose to be champions in this area by creating a culture of positivity. Emotional intelligence came to the professional development forefront in the 1990s as a skill to embrace in the workplace. Having emotional intelligence, or EI, means that we are aware that emotions strongly influence our behavior and as a result can either have a positive or a negative impact on others. This is especially critical when we are under pressure to meet deadlines and are juggling multiple tasks at once. As administrative support professionals, we deal with a number of people each day. While dealing with each one of them, they all bring their emotions and feelings to the interactions, as well as us bringing our own. Depending on the type of mood each of us are in, the interaction can go positively or negatively. That all depends on the type of EI skills we are both utilizing. Since we can't control the behavior of others, we need to always shift our focus to how we can have a favorable impact on the interaction, regardless of the circumstances. There are many ways to practice high levels of EI, as shared in the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0, written by Travis Bradberry and Jean Greaves. Here are two of the foundational principles. First, we must have a good sense of self-awareness. This means understanding why we feel the way we feel, what motivates us, and what draws out negative emotions in us. Being self-aware is a lifelong process, as there is something new to discover about ourselves all the time. Taking the time to reflect on this regularly helps us to have better job performance, operate in our strengths, and achieve our full potential. Consider the type of person you want to be and who you want to be around. Consider the kind of energy you want to bring to your office every day. The second is social awareness. Practicing this skill allows us to pick up on the emotions and feelings of others and understand what is going on with them. The primary ways we can do that are by listening and observing what others say and do. This is very helpful when dealing with irate callers or people who come across strongly in their initial interactions in business. Oftentimes, there is much more going on beneath the surface than the conversation at hand. It normally just takes listening and empathy to get to the heart of the matter. Also, by being socially aware, I am less susceptible to taking things personally. Many of us have been practicing emotional intelligence in our daily work without even realizing it. In the roles we play as counselor, confidant, and right hand to our executive, we need to be constantly available to other people on an emotional level. By recognizing this important trait, we can then be deliberate about owning our skills in this area and growing ourselves in greater ways. How is the morale in your office? Is everyone glad to work there? What is your contribution to the energy that exists in your work environment? I hope that you are one of the main reasons people love coming to work. As a seasoned administrative support professional, I have worked in a number of different offices over my 30-year career. One of my defining moments was when I was in a volatile work environment. However, instead of getting sucked into it, I realized it was my decision how I managed my morale and what I contributed. I had just as much influence as others in setting a tone for the office, and I chose to make it better, not worse. Morale in our offices is mainly seen as the attitudes, outlook, and satisfaction of the employees who work there. I have found that oftentimes, whether morale is low or high is attributed to the leadership in that company. It is very easy to point fingers outward and upward when morale is low. However, I don't subscribe to that philosophy. I instead think it is the responsibility of everyone who works in that space to help keep the energy positive and promote a culture of optimism, regardless of the circumstances one finds oneself in. Although it is much easier to delegate that responsibility to someone else, it is definitely not productive to do so. Here are ways I increase morale in my work environment. The first area that is the most effective is my personal attitude. I try to ensure my words are not negative, my body language is welcoming, and I try to be a friendly smile for all that I come in contact with. I often ask people how they are doing and actually take the time to listen to their answer. I maintain good eye contact and take a genuine interest in their well-being. Next, I try to encourage informal lunches with those in my immediate work group. These will either be potluck, where everyone brings in a dish to share, or we just get together away from our desk and eat our lunches as a group. We don't spend time discussing work, but rather talking about our interests, our families, and our plans for the upcoming weekend. It's a time for everyone to get to know one another better and see each other in a different light. I learn so much about my coworkers when we do this. Lastly, I try to recognize fellow employees and even those I provide administrative support when they do a good job. It's important that people's accomplishments are recognized and that they are not taken for granted. I know this is something I personally appreciate, so I try to pass it on whenever possible. Office morale is something that doesn't need to be a problem. Quite the contrary. We, as administrative support professionals, can be a driving force to ensure our office environments are productive, warm, and inviting for all. Do you consider yourself to be a good listener? Can you help your executive work through some of the daily challenges that they face? Are you the only person in the office that your boss can confide in on particular situations? If so, you are exercising some of the most valuable skills you have as an administrative support professional, serving as a confidant and an advisor. This is an area that I love because it allows me to utilize some of the skills that I'm the strongest in, such as listening, coaching, supporting, and strategizing. If these are the type of attributes you would like to strengthen or gain in your current work situation, there are a number of actions you can take to be a source of strength and leadership when your executive needs this the most. First, develop a strong relationship of trust with the person or people you support. Make sure they can count on you and that you safeguard their information and time. As they see your loyalty to them and your desire to protect the reputation of their position, they will more than likely begin to count on you when they need a listening ear and someone to share their ideas with. If you find this not to be the case with someone you have been supporting for a significant period of time, it might be worth having a discussion as to how you can be more of a support in this area. Next, ensure you are as calm as possible in periods of stress and chaos. Being so will give you a better chance of focusing on your response to the situation at hand. If you are panicked, your reasoning and logic will be quickly lost. Remaining calm will allow you to more easily plan and think strategically. My boss really appreciates this quality in me, and she's a fairly calm person herself. We can navigate stressful situations pretty well together. In the case where her anxiety may be high, I take the lead in this area by keeping our office as steady as possible, not adding to the drama, and keeping the traffic flow light. The less people who need to have access to her sometimes makes things go more smoothly. This way, she can have a moment to think and talk it out with me as she makes decisions. Finally, remain as non-judgmental as possible when situations arise or things are shared with you. When you are non-judgmental, you remain in a neutral position where you are neither positive nor negative towards what you are being told. This is important for the person who is leaning on you at that moment. This stance allows for more understanding and acceptance on your part that your boss will truly appreciate. Honing in on this skill will make your identity as a confidant and advisor that much more evident. I am grateful that as administrative support professionals, we have the opportunity to share in so many diverse roles for the people that we support. Confidant and advisor carry a heavy responsibility, and one that is not to be taken lightly. Through this position, we have the ability to really make a difference and put our best skills to the test. As administrative support professionals, we are pulled in several different directions throughout our day. Competing priorities abound, and emergency situations can often become the norm. How do we keep everything balanced with those whom we work for, work with, and are tasked to serve? One of the ways we can attempt to do this is by setting expectations and maintaining boundaries. It's not always easy to do this, but it certainly is worth the effort. There are several ways that I have worked to set expectations and maintain boundaries throughout my career. One of the more recent things I have started to do is to truly be out of the office when I am on my own personal time. This time includes before and after my workday is done, and when I am on vacation or taking care of personal business. I previously had a bad habit of checking emails and voicemails when I was supposed to be off. This became a habit which was then expected by others. That did not allow me to have the downtime that I needed to refuel and to spend with my family. So I made a deliberate decision to totally devote my time off to myself. My boss respects this as well and rarely tries to contact me when I am out of the office. Also, express your feelings if you are becoming overwhelmed by requests, deliverables, and interruptions. When I have a high priority item that needs to be attended to, but I am being consistently asked to do other things, I spend some time with my boss. I tell her about the current situation and get her feedback on the best way to reach my goals. It becomes a negotiation meeting where we can talk out the priorities and see what things can be shifted. When constant interruptions are the culprit, she has allowed me to close the office door or work out of a conference room in order to get high priority items completed. This has made my work so much more manageable. I have also learned how to not be such a perfectionist. I understand now that things will not always work out as we planned. So instead of trying to attain perfection, I instead strive for excellence. I do the best job I can possibly do, and then I let it go. If I end up making a mistake, I remind myself that I am only human, and sometimes I may make an error. It's okay. No one expects me to be perfect. Setting expectations and boundaries is a gift you can give to yourself and can benefit all those you come in contact with throughout your day. By putting these practices into place, you will notice a difference in your workday and in your personal life as well. Have you ever been in a meeting taking minutes and have no idea what they are talking about at all? Or maybe you were daydreaming for a minute and totally lost your place? Many administrative support professionals, myself included, are responsible for recording and transcribing minutes for any number of meetings, and it's not just for fun. Meeting minutes are considered legal documents. Legal entities such as the IRS and various courts see meeting minutes as representing the actions of the board of directors or company leadership. They are considered backup to your business tax returns and help to keep your company in compliance with state laws. In my case, I take minutes primarily for Board of Education meetings that occur a few times a month. I must admit, recording and publishing meeting minutes are one of my least favorite things to do. Yet, it is one of my highest priority items. To make it a little more bearable, it has been helpful to understand the importance of taking meeting minutes. Here are some things you should keep in mind. They will help you to remain diligent as you are performing this task. The information contained in the minutes places ownership on specific individuals. For example, when I am recording items for board meetings, I regularly have to log the motions made by specific individuals as well as their votes on the different issues that are presented. Because the board members are elected officials, the public has a right to know how they have voted. It is the minutes that gives them this information. The minutes are a historical document that can be used to document ideas, discussion, and decisions that are made. As different organizational leaders and administration take over, it will be helpful to see how things were previously handled and why. By having previous meeting minutes to refer back to, a wealth of information is available. If meeting minutes weren't available, it would be hard to piece the details together, as well as very time-consuming. Attendance is one of the foundational pieces recorded in minutes. By taking attendance, you will always have a record of those who were present and part of the discussion for certain conversations. Absent members also will have a way to stay abreast of any information that they may have missed because they were not at the meeting. A written, detailed account of what occurred provides inclusiveness to those who weren't able to attend. This will give them insight into how decisions were reached, and they can provide feedback when appropriate. Recording minutes allow for a greater level of action and follow-up. It will be less likely for things to not be acted upon if that was the agreement in the meeting. A good practice is to review the previous meeting's minutes before proceeding with any new business. As the administrative support professional who is responsible for taking meeting minutes, you are a very important person in the room. It will be your job to record accurately, capture the major discussion points, decisions, commitments, attendance, and votes if applicable. You will be creating a historical and legal document that will be relied upon for years to come. If you are an administrative support professional that is responsible for taking minutes, you can find ways to make your job easier. Because information is communicated quickly and meetings move fast, you want to ensure you are armed with a set of good practices to help keep you on track. Here are some of the top tips and techniques that I have learned and practiced throughout the years. First, create or find a template that you can use to capture the pertinent information of your meeting. There are a variety of meeting minute templates available online. I have created my own template that captures the highlights of the information that is important for my organization. Your template can be paper or digital, depending on your comfort and skill level. Remember to create your template using your meeting agenda as a guide. Second, physically record the meetings for future playback when constructing the minutes. I, of course, only do this if the participants are comfortable and agreeable. I utilize a handheld voice recorder or use an app on my iPhone. These recordings have come in very handy when needing to transcribe my notes or ensure that I have captured the information accurately. As soon as I have completed my minutes and they have been approved, I delete the recording, unless my meeting retention guidelines say I need to keep it for a specific time period. Third, don't try to capture every word of every conversation in the meeting verbatim. This is nearly impossible unless you are a trained transcriptionist. You should be focusing on decisions, assignments, action steps, etc. Also, if you need clarification or something that was said or on a decision that was made, ask for it. Don't be afraid to interrupt the meeting for the purpose of the minutes. Your attendee should be willing to give you the information that you need to ensure the accuracy of your notes. And have someone proofread your minutes whenever possible before you send them out. If you can have someone who was also in the meeting, do it. That's even better, since they are familiar with what went on during the meeting. By having another set of eyes on your notes, you are likely to have an accurate finished product. This is an extra step to keep your credibility high as an accurate note taker. Finally, send the minutes of your meeting out as soon as possible for feedback and comments. By doing this timely, everyone who was in attendance will still have the meeting fresh in their memory and won't need to try to recall information that has since been forgotten. Similar to public speaking, taking meeting minutes is something that you get more comfortable with the more you do it. Although it can be a stressful job at times, it also allows you to showcase your skills, both in person and on paper, in a way that other job responsibilities don't allow. Use this as an opportunity to shine while performing a necessary and important job function for your organization. How do you help prepare your executives so they are ready to tackle trips, meetings, and events with the most up-to-date information? Do you have a system for gathering important information and avoiding surprises? If you do not currently have this as one of your practices, it's time to put this in place and help prepare them so they are ready to face their day with exactly what they need. This can help save time and eliminate stress for both you and your executive. As you know, the person or people that we support have a lot going on. They are often running from meeting to meeting, traveling on a regular basis, and attending events where they will be making remarks or presenting on a particular topic. The best way to make a hectic day and schedule a little easier is by ensuring they have all the vital information in advance. You, as an administrative support professional, can ensure that this happens by pulling the required materials together, eliminating most surprises, and providing everything in an easy access format. The information that you provide for your packet will primarily come from the things you have worked on firsthand, such as travel and presentations you may compile. Some items may also require you to research and pull data from the internet. It's also important to keep in mind that some of the rest of your materials will need to be obtained through other members of the organization. If that is the case, allow ample time to receive the documents and ensure they are accurate and complete. Provide due dates well in advance. What your individual briefing packets look like are based on the preference of the person you support. Some like to have a hard copy because they like something tangible and accessible to look at whenever they need to. Some bosses may prefer the digital copy in lieu of paper because they are more comfortable navigating this format. Either way, here's what I suggest go into a briefing packet. Necessary contacts, telephone numbers, confirmations, travel itinerary when needed, presentation data, event logistics. One thing to note, the unfortunate part about a hard copy packet is that it could be lost or inadvertently left behind. Make sure you always have a digital backup that is accessible by mobile device or via laptop. Having briefing materials in advance of trips, meetings, and events will be expected by many executives. How you ensure their delivery and presentation will be an area where you can make your own mark. For those not used to this type of information being available, you will be able to showcase your talents as a forward thinker who wants to ensure that your boss is well prepared, at their best, and they can react calmly and swiftly when things don't work out exactly as we planned. How many times during the day do you find yourself getting interrupted? Are the interruptions urgent matters or something that can wait? How long do you think it takes you to get back on track after you have been interrupted? As administrative support professionals, we find ourselves being interrupted many times throughout the day. Those interruptions can come in the form of phone calls, office visits, priority emails, or an irate customer who needs attention immediately. What is the best way to handle these inevitable distractions with grace and ease while continuing to be productive? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here are some tips to do so. First, break down your time into focus blocks on your calendar. Set aside a specific amount of time, either 1 hour or 2, to work on a priority task. For example, I may work on cleaning out my inbox from 8 to 10 a.m. in the morning. This is the only thing I'm scheduled to do during this time. If any non-urgent emails come through during that period, I don't read them until my 2 hours are up. I allow my calls to go to voicemail whenever possible. If I can close my office door, I do that as well. If a critical interruption must occur, I handle it quickly and then get back to what I was working on. It's easier to refocus my attention back on the task as this was the one thing I was working on. Also learn to separate urgent matters from important ones. The urgent matters need to be handled right away, or they may cause a detrimental effect on my executive or the business in general. Important matters need to be dealt with expeditiously, but can normally be scheduled. Often the person who does the interrupting labels the item as urgent, when in reality, it's important and can wait until I am finished working on the task at hand. It's up to me to make this determination and ensure all matters are handled professionally. Finally, to support your executive, keep a sufficient buffer of time in their schedule for the things you are certain will arise. For example, if I book back-to-back meetings for my boss and there is a situation that she has to deal with, meetings will become backed up and some may even need to be canceled. That will result in my having to do additional work in rescheduling. Managing interruptions is a necessary part of our jobs as administrative support professionals. Throughout our day, we are consistently prioritizing the various situations that we will encounter. By having a plan in advance, we will lower our frustrations and meet each interruption as an opportunity to skillfully manage our time and emotions. We, as administrative support professionals, need to be able to plan and execute meetings and a variety of events at a moment's notice. Depending on your position, this may be a task you do often, or it may be only on occasion. I personally plan a variety of meetings on a regular basis. I have learned to do this by trial and error over the course of my career. Today, there are many resources, training classes, and even a certification that one can obtain to learn how to do events flawlessly. Regardless of where, it's important to acquire this skill as you will most definitely need it. Here are some steps to take when planning out a meeting. First, make sure there is a clear purpose. To determine that, have a clarifying conversation with the meeting host. There is nothing worse for an attendee than to go to a meeting that was not necessary or to find that the matter could have been managed in a less time-consuming way. Then, develop a detailed agenda with the meeting host. This ensures the meeting's purpose is being met. Also, you are able to determine the logistics such as the audiovisual needs, the type of space and setup, materials, and the attendee list. Here are some considerations when executing an event. Gather information such as the number of attendees, timing for the event, venue preference, budget, and anything else that can help you to achieve the requester's vision. Do a site visit before the event. This is critical so there are no surprises and the space is adequate to meet your needs. Don't make assumptions. Once, I organized an event for senior citizens and I neglected to do the site visit. It turns out we were put in a basement room that was only accessed by stairs. It was a nightmare moving the attendees in and out of the room. From that moment on, I have always done a pre-event walkthrough. Be sure to pay attention to the details for catering if needed. If you work with a caterer, it is important to work with someone who is very flexible, as you may have last-minute changes up to the day of your event. You will want to be culturally sensitive to the food you choose, aware of any food allergies that you need to accommodate, as well as ensuring you provide vegetarian or vegan meals. You want to make sure your guests have a good experience when it comes to whatever meals you will be serving. If this area is not satisfactory, I have no doubt you will receive instant feedback. Executing meetings and events is an essential part of what administrative support professionals do, regardless of the industry that you work in. When the basics are taken care of with excellence, it allows your attendees to focus on the true purpose of the event or meeting. As administrative support professionals, many of us have our favorite tools that we use on a daily basis to make our lives easier and to increase our productivity. I have found a few job aids that I have used consistently throughout my career. They are the pieces of office technology or equipment that saves me time, helps me be more organized, and increases my productivity. If you have the ability and budget to upgrade your equipment or add new items, I would encourage you to try some of these out. Here are some technology tools that I find extremely helpful in my day-to-day work life. 2 monitors on your desktop computer. I am currently working in a PC environment at work. The 2 monitors allow for me to multitask between various internal systems and software packages much easier than one screen. When using one screen, I have to have multiple tabs open and toggle back and forth. When I use the dual monitors, I can have systems up simultaneously, share data between applications more easily, and when I need to make comparison between programs or documents, the dual monitors makes it much more straightforward. Label Writer. This is an organizing must-have. This small machine allows me to make labels for file folders, envelopes, or anything you would normally use a label for without having to use a label sheet that has to be formatted in a word processing software and printed on your desktop printer. That can be cumbersome and time-consuming. The desktop label writer allows me to save frequently used labels and addresses and insert graphics or logos. The label writer comes with its own software and is easily installed on your computer. The labels that are used can be obtained easily from several retailers. A digital voice recorder or the Voice Memos app on my iPhone. As part of my current job responsibilities, I have to take and publish a variety of meeting minutes. To do this effectively, I often record the conversation for which I will later transcribe into notes or minutes. I always ensure I have permission from the attendees before recording, and I delete all recordings according to established guidelines after I'm done. It has been fascinating to watch technology tools evolve. I am happy to say that over the last 30 years, I have seen our profession evolve in very beneficial ways. We need to continue to remain current with our training and our willingness to adapt to new technological tools that make lives easier and more productive. As administrative support professionals, we are looked at as the organizational expert for our offices. Most of us have high levels of skill in the area of organization. If this is not a strength, don't despair. Here are some basic tips to get organized, which leads to greater levels of productivity. First, declutter. One of the first things that I did when taking over my current position was to rid my new office space of furniture, office supplies, and equipment that I was not going to be using. Some of the items were outdated and could not be of use to anyone else in the organization. Those items were put in the garbage or recycle bin. Other items that were still usable were put into a central supply area. Even if you are not new to your office space, take some time to declutter, as things tend to build up over time. Label, label, and label again. It makes good sense to label your files, drawers, trays, and bins when organizing. This is helpful not only for you, but for anyone that needs to find things when you are away from your office. Oftentimes, the person or team you support may need to understand where files or supplies are kept. This will help them to locate things easily. It is helpful for you because you can put things in their proper place after using them, which keeps your desk clutter to a minimum. Also, the likelihood of something being misplaced will be low, especially when moments of high stress emerge and you need to find something right away. Utilize your wall space. Oftentimes, when we think of organizing, we are thinking of desks, drawers, filing cabinets, etc. If you are in an actual office, then it is literally your wall space. If you are in a cubicle, then it would be the partition. Either way, you can use that space to hang calendars, whiteboards, filing systems, and shelves. For example, I have a large erasable calendar on my wall where I keep track of all of my boss's board meetings. I reference it several times throughout the day to answer questions and to ensure I am meeting all of my deadlines. Having it visible saves me time and energy. Finally, keep your personal items to a minimum. The majority of us have personal items in our office, such as photos. Personal items are a good reminder of what is the most important things in our lives and a source of happiness throughout our day. However, I have seen instances where personal items are excessive and take up a good amount of workspace. To avoid this, keep those special pieces to a small amount. By being more organized in this manner, I am able to conserve my time, get more done in a day, and reduce my stress levels. Moreover, it positions me for literal organizational success. Although we now find ourselves living in a very digital age, many of us administrative support professionals, myself included, have physical files that we are responsible for keeping. I currently work in a high school public school system in Illinois. Our board meetings are covered under the Illinois Open Meetings Act. This means I am obligated to keep my meeting minutes and any backup according to the guidelines in that statute. And my constituents are very in tune with the requirements. If I don't adhere to things in a timely manner, they let me know immediately, as well as my boss. In my case, there are specific laws that dictate the length I need to keep certain files and which particular files need to be maintained. Here are some tips that I have found useful in preserving my paper files and setting up a system to keep them organized and easy to retrieve when necessary. First, name your files and folders strategically. Depending on the type of file, you want to ensure you name them according to the circumstance, document title, document date, or whatever heading will allow you to retrieve it quickly and easily. For example, I need to file signed copies of our board meeting minutes. I save the files in a binder with tabs that are organized by dates. The binders are set up by year, month, and then by individual date. This allows me quick and easy access to any board meeting minutes I am looking for. Ensure you are maintaining your files on a regular basis. A sure way to stay on top of your filing and not allow it to get behind is to set up a regular schedule when you will add new documents and also when you will purge no longer needed documents. I set a schedule to file new documents weekly and purge documents monthly. If your office has different requirements, then you should adhere to those. If not, this schedule could also work well for you if you have a standard amount of filing to do. This way, you won't have a ton of paper on your desk, and you will be able to retrieve items easily. Use different colors to distinguish between your files. I have found using colors helps me to immediately distinguish between the type of files I have stored. It also looks neater and more professional. You can use different colors for binders, file folders, labels, and tabs. Keep important and confidential paperwork under lock and key. This keeps your documents safe and provides access only to those who have the proper authorization. Finally, choose filing storage containers and cabinets that will suit your needs. There are a number of different options available, and you want to ensure you research the best ones for your requirements. If you currently have a system that does not work for you, inquire as to whether your office's budget allows for you to replace them. Although paperless offices are very popular, there are many offices that still need to maintain paperwork and be able to retrieve it when it is needed. Therefore, it is up to those administrative support professionals who are responsible for this area to develop systems of organization that work well for that business and their future needs. Imagine you are preparing for a very important annual meeting. You are the one responsible for ensuring that your boss's PowerPoint slides are shared with the tech team who will be setting up all the presentations. It's the hour before they are due, and guess what? You can't find it anywhere on your computer or in the cloud. It has literally disappeared into thin air. Have you ever been in a similar scenario? I have, and it's the worst feeling in the world. A great way to avoid this situation from ever happening again is to ensure you organize your electronic files so they can be searched and retrieved with ease. Here are some helpful tips that you can use to organize your electronic files. Naming your files consistently. You should be concise, yet descriptive enough so that you or whoever else needs to retrieve the file will be able to easily recognize the content contained within. It is also important to include the date and the naming of the file for sorting purposes. A best-known format is to designate by a 4-digit year, 2-digit month, and 2-digit date, followed by your file name. When you use this format, your files will stay in chronological order if that is important for you. Creating folders and storing files within them by category, date, client name, or any specific designation you want to give them. Folders are particularly helpful in sorting out your email messages. When you create a file folder or specific label, you can easily move your email messages to that place in order to easily retrieve them later. These folders or labels become your digital filing cabinet and definitely saves you time and energy as opposed to having to search for specific documents. Using designations such as draft, approved, and final for some of your shared documents. This is very helpful when you are working on shared documents such as those found in Google Drive. In my case, I have monthly documents I need to create and have reviewed by my boss. I create folders or file names that show the disposition of the document that we are working on. If it is in draft form, that is the folder or file name I use. If it is ready for approval, then I place it in a folder that says For Approval. It is a helpful way that we both know where work stands and what steps need to be taken next. Purging your electronic files from time to time. You can schedule regular maintenance time to do this, such as monthly or quarterly. Purging these electronic documents helps to free up space and simplify your files. Each organization normally has procedures for archiving records. You should consult with your IT department. If your company does not currently have something set up, you could champion this effort and research the best ways to ensure electronic documents are protected, stored, and disposed of properly. Good records management is important for both your physical and electronic files and documents. It may take some time to initially get organized, but once you have a solid system in place, it will save you time and maximize your productivity for years to come. As administrative support professionals, time is a valuable commodity for us, as there are usually more tasks than time in any given day. Therefore, anything that helps to conserve our time and that of our executive is definitely something we want to utilize immediately and often. One such way to do this is through the use of apps. The term app is short for application. Apps are programs that can be downloaded to your computer or some type of mobile device, such as a phone and/or tablet. They are meant to make life easier, faster, and more convenient for their users. I have a number of apps that I use in the course of my day that help me to do my work more efficiently. Here are the types of apps that I find useful. First, cloud-based storage drives. This type of application allows you to store any type of file and access from anywhere. Files can be shared and collaborated with colleagues in real time. My favorite feature is that it eliminates the need to share and download attachments. Many organizations are migrating to this type of service, and if your organization hasn't already done so, it would make sense to familiarize yourself with this application due to its popularity and widespread use. I use Google Drive. Some of the other popular ones include Dropbox, OneDrive, and Amazon Cloud Drive. Second, note-taking tools. These allow you to capture, organize, and share notes from anywhere that syncs with all of your devices. I use this type of app to store notes, keep links, add attachments, formulate checklists, and keep electronic clutter to a minimum. I currently use Evernote. Other applications similar to Evernote are Apple Notes, Microsoft OneNote, and Quip. Third, a social media management dashboard. This helps you manage multiple social media accounts from one place and is particularly useful if you are involved or responsible for your company's social media strategy. My favorite is Hootsuite. Additional options are Sendable and Social Pilot. Fourth, travel organization tools. Many of them allow you to have mobile access, share information with others, sync travel itineraries to your calendar, and store important travel documents in one place. The app that I'm most familiar with is TripIt. Finally, presentation tools. These can be used as an alternative to traditional slide-making programs such as PowerPoint. One such app that stands in a class by itself is Prezi. Prezi uses one large canvas that allows you to pan and zoom to various parts to emphasize different points. New apps are coming on the market at a fast and regular pace. It is critical for administrative support professionals to stay abreast of new productivity tools that can be helpful in the work that you do on a daily basis, as well as helping your executive to conserve their time. By investigating and trialing many of these applications, you can remain in sync or ahead of relevant technology, which increases your contribution to not only the people you support, but your organization as a whole. I have a confession to make. I used to suffer from perfectionism. When I was exhibiting these tendencies, I would set very high often unrealistic requirements. For myself, I feared failure, and I would often procrastinate. When I didn't achieve my set expectations, it resulted in a critical self-evaluation. Basically, when I worked on a task, it was never good enough in my eye. Talking to many administrative support professionals throughout the years, I have found that many of us suffer from perfectionism at various degrees. We want to know that people are receiving quality outputs and never have to question the work that we produce. That's admirable, but perfectionism is not the way to achieve this. Instead, I have found that the pursuit of excellence is a much more productive way to go about your work. By attempting to exceed expectations, instead of trying to do everything perfectly, we have a much more realistic target to reach. We put much less pressure on ourselves, feel a greater sense of accomplishment, and are less critical of what we produce. Here are some ways to pursue excellence in everything that you do. Create an achievable vision and strategy for the task at hand. When you specifically plan your work with a starting point and definite ending, that leaves less room to continue to tweak things endlessly. Otherwise, your work gets derailed by constant edits and finishing touches. A clear execution, deadline, and what the finished product should look like helps to avoid the perfection trap. Remain flexible. When you become rigid in your plans and ideas of how something should be, you are setting yourself up for failure. Things don't always work out the way we plan. When that happens, go to an alternate plan without emotionally falling completely apart. The ability to remain adaptable is the skill that helps you excel in your leadership capabilities. You will be the type of person people want to work with. Be open to learning. With each challenge and even successes come valuable education. Don't dwell on your past mistakes in a way that is not productive. Don't assign blame to yourself and others on why things didn't work out the way that you planned. Instead, in everything that you do, celebrate your successes, learn from the missteps, and use each one of them to propel you forward in a more confident and positive way. Perfectionism can lead to self-sabotage. Instead, make the choice to pursue excellence. This is a healthy way to approach your work in both your professional and personal life. You will be able to improve your skills and improve the quality of your life. Make a commitment today to not only do this for yourself, but to be part of creating a culture of excellence wherever you find yourself. The great thing about the pursuit of excellence is that often it is quite contagious, and you will find others emulating the things that you do. Authentic leadership is something that we can all learn. Administrative support professionals are uniquely positioned as we are continually nurturing relationships with those we support, those we work alongside, and those we serve, such as the general public and our respective customers. Doing this excellently is also something that really does come second nature to us, as we are always representing those we report to. Therefore, we want to do everything with excellence. We can exhibit and develop these qualities by focusing on the broad range of principles that authentic leaders exhibit. Here are some common traits of authentic leaders. First, they are not focused on perfection, but rather reach for excellence in all that they do. They know that things can often go wrong or differently than they plan when doing support work. Having this as a foundation, an authentic leader goes above and beyond the call of duty and is ready for the unexpected. They tend not to get rattled when things go wrong, but instead look for alternative solutions to whatever situation may arise. Next, they ask for input and advice. They are open to feedback and suggestions. Administrative support professionals often need to consult a variety of people in the course of their day. We rely on others to get our job done. When we are leading in this area, we know how to obtain the information we need from various sources and ensure our tasks are done well and on time. By approaching work this way, it leaves little chance for things to be missed or errors to occur. Authentic leaders also take care of themselves. They ensure they engage in self-care routines and try to maintain a healthy work-life balance. For many years, this was an area that I neglected in my own life. I knew that if I wanted to live a successful life, both personally and professionally, then I needed to ensure I focused on my health and well-being by making it a priority. I quickly found out that I had more to give others when I was taken care of. It is hard to give out so much of yourself to others that you become depleted and have nothing left for yourself. It is a much better practice to take care of you first. Finally, authentic leaders have their priorities in order and know what is really important. As an administrative support professional, it would be very easy to get bogged down in a great deal of minutia every day. Yet if we did that, we would miss out on high priority items and the things that are the most important for the people we support and serve. Instead, we need to be focused on the purpose behind the work that we engage in each day. Authentic leadership is something within our grasp. By living out our values and beliefs daily, regardless of what environment we find ourselves in, we stay true to our inner self. By adopting some of the traits explored in this video, we are well on our way to leading more authentically. Have you ever found yourself taking on additional responsibilities outside of your regular work duties? Or have you ever had to relax your normal operating procedures to meet a customer request? If you have, you were performing one of the most important functions of any business or organization. You were providing exceptional customer service to either an internal or external customer of the business or organization that you work for. Administrative support professionals are often the closest people to the customer, regardless of the industry or business they work in. Your interactions are frequently the first ones customers have and the last ones to make an impression. Knowing this, it is critical that you understand exactly how your interaction with customers can shape your organization's reputation. Oftentimes, this will be the differentiator that determines whether your customers continue to utilize your products or services or whether they seek out someone else. Providing stellar customer service means that you exceed customers' expectations and explore solutions they had not considered. The benefits include customer loyalty, referrals to family and friends, increased brand awareness, higher sales, and finally, positive workforce. Even in a business that is more publicly focused, such as education, the one I work in, the benefits are similar. Although our product is the educating of our students, when we provide exceptional customer service, both internally and externally, the bottom line will result in a superior learning experience for our students. They are our ultimate customer, so everything we do on a daily basis should always serve them. As an administrative support professional, you are in a key position to provide exceptional customer service experiences for all those you interact with on a daily basis. These opportunities will often include both internal and external customers, including those you support, the general public, outside agencies, or anyone unique to your business. Capitalize on each of those interactions to create an experience that wows all those you encounter. It begins with knowing the importance of delighting your customers and being aware of how your approach impacts them. Have you ever had bad service when eating in a restaurant? Or maybe you have encountered some rude behavior when you called the returns department of your favorite online retailer. Hopefully, you've also had experiences where you were treated very well by the staff of some similar place. These experiences will look and feel totally different to you. The differentiator will be the level of customer service you were provided and how the person delivering the service was able to make you feel. Delivering exceptional customer service is a skill that all administrative support professionals need to possess. We deal with an extensive range of people on a daily basis. Every interaction can either make or break a customer's relationship with the company and potentially impact its overall public reputation. Here are some ways you can deliver exceptional customer service on a regular basis. Have a friendly disposition, lots of energy, and smile. This applies even when you are providing service over the phone. When a person is smiling or in a friendly mood, you can feel their excitement to assist you. Put in the extra effort and time to help your customer when the situation warrants it. I do this frequently with callers who end up transferred to my office because they don't know who else to turn to. In those instances, I take the extra few minutes to find the right person for them, ensure the person is at their desk before I transfer the call, and also give the caller the direct number in case the line gets disconnected. That may seem like standard protocol for you, but it is not for everyone. When you take the extra time to ensure the customer gets exactly what they need, you are providing exceptional customer service. Ensure you are meeting your commitments in a timely manner. If there is a chance that you may miss an important deadline for whatever reason, notify the person involved as soon as possible. Providing timely updates is appreciated and the right thing to do. You will be seen as trustworthy, professional, and organized when you make timeliness a priority. Avoid arguments with customers, coworkers, subordinates, and those you support. If you are dealing with a stressful situation or conversation where you feel close to becoming argumentative, it may be best to ask to table the discussion. Ask for a quick break so that you can calm yourself down. You will rarely win when you find yourself in an argument at work. It's best to keep your composure and come back to the matter after some time has passed. Providing exceptional customer service can distinguish you as someone who is ready for greater levels of leadership, as an exemplary employee, and as a model for others in your office. Apply these tips to help strengthen your personal brand and help your organization shine as well. As administrative support professionals, we are normally the ones who have work projects delegated to us. Yet, we also need to be aware of how we can best delegate work to others when appropriate. There are certainly times when work assignments fall outside of our area of responsibility, or if the task can best be handled by someone else in the organization. When that is the case, we have to be ready to transfer work effectively and decisively. In my case, I have avoided delegating because I often think I am the only person who can do things in a way that I think is best. Instead of taking this approach, I have found ways to effectively delegate when I need to. Although there are certain tasks I can't turn over to anyone else due to the confidential nature, there are ones that I can that allow my workday to run more smoothly. Delegating work has a number of benefits that can be realized immediately. When we delegate well, we are then able to focus on higher priority tasks and are more productive. It also helps to promote teamwork and give others confidence in taking on higher level responsibilities. Here are some ways that I have learned to delegate effectively. First, learn how to ask for help when you need it the most. That is something I have had to learn with experience. Prior to coming to this realization, I thought it was a sign of weakness to ask for help. I have learned that reaching out for help when you need it the most is really a sign of strength. When you have reached your capacity, the act of trying to go beyond that is detrimental to you and those you support. You become overwhelmed and are prone to errors when you take on more than you can realistically handle. Instead, reach out to peers, subordinates, and even those above you when you need help. Next, enlist help from people whose skills match best with what you need assistance with. It would be a disservice to them, as well as myself, if I ask someone to perform tasks that they are not trained for or qualified to do. Instead, I do my best to match my needs with the qualifications of those in a position to help me. Lastly, communicate clearly on what your needs are and exactly how you would like something done. In other words, document, document, document. Put everything in writing so that there are no miscommunications that can cause a deadline to be missed or have something be done incorrectly. The person receiving the task will be appreciative of this as well. Delegation is an effective tool to help you manage your time and your priorities so that you can handle your workload on a daily basis. When you competently build this skill, it will be noticed and you will be positioned for greater levels of responsibility. The workplace is evolving and changing in many different aspects. One of the most important ways is in the area of diversity and inclusion for all employees. As administrative support professionals, we have the opportunity to interact with a wide range of people. It is critical that we are knowledgeable about the various types of individuals with whom we collaborate and that we help to foster an inclusive environment. When we do this, we are helping to move our organizations forward and to retain valuable talent. Hopefully, your organization has diversity goals. If so, it is important to know what they are and how you can best support them. If this is not an area your business or company has really engaged in, maybe you can be one of the champions of this in your office. In either scenario, it's important that you are educated on this topic and that you can help bring others along. You can do this through reading, attending diversity training, and being open to learning about people who may be different from you. It is advantageous to learn about different cultures, races, religions, and backgrounds because when you are educated in these areas, you can better relate to people. A good place to start is talking with and learning from your own colleagues, supervisors, and subordinates. There are also many books, magazine articles, and speakers who have a wealth of information on the topic of diversity and inclusion in the workplace. In fact, you can find many courses on this issue right here in this library. It is up to each of us to become educated so that we can more intelligently converse and support the diverse communities in our offices. We should be cognizant of our language and the language of our coworkers so that we don't say anything that could be considered offensive. We should also be willing to speak out against any jokes or stereotypes that are disparaging to any group. We can also help to form or be a part of an already existing group that celebrates cultures and heritage within our offices. It's a great learning and social opportunity to have employees share dishes from their background as well as their customs. People are normally very happy to share their traditions, as it is a tremendous source of pride. You are in a position of great influence. You can help shape the perspective of your executive and others around you. You may also be able to affect the hiring and retention of diverse talent within your organization. I have been fortunate to serve on interview groups that help to staff high-level positions in our school district. I was able to tangibly support the equity vision of our organization and ensure it was being lived out. How will you make certain that your workplace is one that is engaged, committed, and celebrating the diversity that is all around you? This is a question that we should all ask ourselves and be able to answer in specific ways. If we cannot, that's a definite signal that there is work to be done in this area. Get started today. Have you ever thought about creating an additional income stream with the highly desirable know-how that you possess? If you have, you can begin to make this a reality sooner than you think. As administrative support professionals, we have a host of skills that are in high demand in the marketplace. Our organization, time management, event planning, and customer service skills are just a few that can be transferred to your own side business if you so desire. For the past 10 years, I have worked full-time as an administrative support professional and simultaneously as the owner of my own life coaching, training, and speaking business. It's a passion of mine that I have cultivated for the last several years, and the culmination of these efforts has even resulted in me teaching this course. There are times when it can get a bit hectic with working full-time, but it has been worth the sacrifice as I am afforded the opportunity to be my own boss. In addition, I have learned things as a business owner that I can transfer to my full-time job. I now bring more of an entrepreneurial spirit to my workplace. I go to work as if the company I am working for is my own business. I use that philosophy when making spending decisions, providing input on hiring, and in the commitment level I bring each day. Owning my own business has transformed me as an employee. Here are some ways to easily transfer your administrative skills to your own side business. Work as a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant is a self-employed administrative support professional who works for various clients. They tailor their services to the needs of the person that hires them. They may provide calendar and travel management, email response, presentation creation, phone support, or social media management. Virtual assistants are hired by entrepreneurs, life coaches, small business owners, or anyone who needs secretarial support. However, they may not have the means to bring on full-time help, or the work may not require an employee. The virtual assistant can set their own hours and work when their schedule allows. Also, event planning. Since administrative support professionals are usually expert organizers and planners, this is a natural fit. We often structure small and large-scale events on a daily basis. You can provide this type of service for busy professionals, small businesses, or even the overworked parent who just doesn't have the time to plan a birthday party for their little one. Again, you can create your own hours and easily work this business in the evenings and on weekends. Outside of capitalizing on your own administrative skills, nearly anything you are passionate about and have a talent for can be turned into an additional income generator. If you play an instrument, tutor students, make crafts, or bake, you can start your own small business immediately. All of the skills you use on a full-time basis can be great assets in your journey to entrepreneurship. If you have the desire to be your own business owner, it is something that doesn't have to be just a dream. It is easier than ever with the advent of social media and the ability to create a website to take your talent and create the type of business you envision right away. When you think of a coach, what do you think of? Or who do you think of? Well, of course, sports comes to mind. But in our working lives, coaches can be very effective in helping us play the professional field. Maybe a coach is someone who has been a mentor to you at various points in your life, or even someone who has a broad base of knowledge that was beneficial for your personal and/or professional development. All of these can be accurate descriptions. For the purposes of this learning video, a coach is someone who guides people from where they are to where they want to be. As administrative support professionals, we have the opportunity to interact with a large number of people throughout our organizations, the general public, and a variety of people specific to your industry. Oftentimes, we serve as a listening ear, a guiding voice, and someone who needs to move people into action. Because of this, we naturally become a coach to others. By learning what a good coach does, we can help fill this vital role in our office environments and hone our professional development skills to a greater level. Do you want to improve your coaching skills? Here are some tips. Become a great active listener. This means you are attentive, ask open-ended questions, seek clarification when necessary, and look out for nonverbal cues. If you find others consistently looking to speak with you about a variety of issues, you are probably a good active listener. You can also be a better listener by fully being present in the conversation and not working on your computer, checking your mobile device, or having multiple conversations at the same time. When we exhibit any of these behaviors, we are sending a signal to the person who is talking that what they are saying is not the most important thing to you at that time. Develop high self-awareness. When you possess this, you have a great understanding of who you are and how you handle your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It is difficult to have a high level of emotional intelligence when it comes to others if you don't already have a keen insight into your own emotions. The more comfortable you are with yourself, the more you can be available for others in this area. Take a sincere interest in others and have a genuine desire to help. When you display these attributes, people will be open to you and have a comfort level with you that will be different than others. They will be more open to confiding in you, asking for your opinion, willing to help you, and support you. It becomes a two-way interaction that is mutually beneficial. Developing your coaching skills is something that can assist you in your current assignment as an administrative support professional and for any increased levels of responsibility you may desire. The ability to interact and engage with people is one of the most valuable talents you can have, not only professionally, but also on a personal level. Continue to master this competency for greater levels of excellence in your relationships. We know that as administrative support professionals, we are often the ones who have the distinct opportunity to effectively coach and support a variety of people we come in contact with. In addition to coaching others, we must also remember to coach ourselves. I have not always been as confident in myself as I am today, and I definitely was not a strong public speaker when I first began doing this type of work. What has been the differentiator for me has been the personal development work I put into myself. These self-coaching techniques have been instrumental in helping me to keep a positive outlook, minimize my stress, and position me for greater opportunities through both my executive assistant role as well as my coaching and speaking business. Here are some of the techniques that I use and recommend doing on a regular basis. Have an attitude of gratitude. By this I mean being thankful every day for not just the big things, but the small things in life. I actually do an exercise each day where I list the top 5 things I am grateful for in my day. On the days when there is high stress or challenges, it is particularly helpful because it confirms that even in the midst of dealing with important issues, there is always something to be thankful for. Use positive self-affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that help us to defeat sabotaging thoughts and negative feelings about ourselves. Instead, they help to increase our self-confidence and self-esteem. Find a set of affirming statements and/or positive quotes and repeat them out loud. This becomes a daily ritual that you do for whatever period of time is necessary until your brain actually believes what you are saying. Keep a daily journal. Journaling is the practice of keeping thoughts and remembrances of events in your daily life. The benefits of journaling include clarifying thoughts, gaining self-knowledge, processing emotions, and providing an outlet for stress. Sometimes, many of the things we say to ourselves in our journal, we wouldn't want to say out loud to another person. Your journal gives you a safe place to express those feelings. Celebrate your successes by ensuring you record your achievements and set up a system of reward. You can't wait for others to celebrate you or your success. Instead, do this for yourself. Take time to reflect on your accomplishments and recharge for your next goal. Self-coaching helps us to gain self-confidence, learn new things about ourselves, solve problems faster, and develop self-reflection skills. The benefits are clear, so why not work to become the best version of you today? Have you ever felt out of control in any aspect of your life? Do you know what it feels like to have others dictate your actions while feeling powerless to do anything about it? I've been in these positions before, and in the end, they have been the ones that have allowed me to grow the most. As administrative support professionals, we are often a part of and included in many organizational changes that take place in our places of employment. Oftentimes, they directly affect us, yet we normally don't have input into the decisions. How do we ensure we still have control over our careers in the midst of changes going on around us and that include us? Well, I'm glad you asked. By concentrating our efforts on the areas we can control, it helps us to feel less anxious and keeps us in a position to have input into the decisions that affect our future. One of the steps that I do to take control of my career is to ensure I have a written vision in place and it's active in my professional life. Vision is a picture of something that we want to exist in the future. It's a target we intend to reach. It encourages us to think beyond what is and shifts our focus to what will be. Your vision is unique to you. And the best part about your vision is that no one can take it away from you. No matter what your life circumstances are, your vision is what you can move towards in your future. It may need to be altered from time to time, but it continues to pull you forward. Next, speak up for yourself. I find it necessary to make sure I am responding versus reacting to conversations and actions. Reacting elicits more emotion, whereas a response is more thoughtful, and I take the time to truly see all sides of the situation. It is important to gather your thoughts, ensure you have the right audience, and then have the appropriate conversations. Whether it changes an outcome or not, I instantly feel better after having a voice. I also make it a point to practice assertiveness rather than aggression. Assertiveness is letting others know what you need and how you feel in a confident and self-respecting manner. Acting aggressively can come across as pushy and obnoxious in a self-important kind of way. This way of operating will not get me my desired results and will shut people down to what you have to say. I constantly monitor my behavior to ensure I am more assertive than aggressive in my speech and body language. Taking control of one's career is a responsibility that is our own and something we must do regardless of the circumstances we find ourselves in. Although we don't have power over everything, we certainly do have control over our biggest influencer, which is ourselves. By employing certain practices, we can set ourselves up for future success in our personal and professional lives. By definition, career management is taking deliberate steps in order to ensure long-term career success. Oftentimes, for administrative support professionals, we are working to help ensure the success of those we support at the neglect of our own career aspirations. This doesn't have to be the case. Instead, we can help those we support achieve their goals while ensuring we are taking control of our professional future. Career management is important for the following reasons. First, taking control over your career. This is not up to your employer. It is helpful if they provide tools that can aid you as you move forward, but the ultimate responsibility rests with you individually. When you take charge in this area, you can move in the direction of your vision and not one that is imposed upon you. We have all found ourselves in jobs that may not have been a good match for any number of reasons. However, there is always something to learn, and you can use that assignment to propel you to the next opportunity by using it as a stepping stone instead of a roadblock. Next, attaining career satisfaction. As you begin to develop professionally and determine your career goals, you will feel more optimistic about your future and how you will get there. If you plan to stay with your present employer, you may be trying to excel in your present assignment, as you know this will help you to reach the next step. Work begins to take on new meaning, and you feel more fulfilled in your daily responsibilities. When you don't feel valued in your work, or you don't know how to move ahead, you become frustrated, and that can lead to negativity. This would lead to dissatisfaction, which is not good for you as an employee, nor for the employer you are working for. Finally, ability to assess your own professional development needs. Your skills in this area of management, goal setting, strategy, and personal branding will all be highly developed during your career planning process. In addition, you will more than likely need to attend training classes, pursue educational opportunities, and gain knowledge in areas that will strengthen your resume and prepare you for advanced levels within your current profession or a new one that you want to obtain. Managing your career is a gift you give to yourself that will pay off exponentially in the years to come. You must make this a priority for yourself and commit to seeing it through. In order to begin to take charge of our professional futures and determine our career goals, we must actively take part in career management. This is important because we are ultimately the ones responsible for our goals and broadening our skills and knowledge base. The question is not should I manage my career? Instead, the question is how do I manage my career to position myself for success? Here are some techniques that have helped me manage my career. First is to employ effective networking practices. By connecting with thought leaders in particular areas and by creating a community of professionals who have your best interests at heart, you can propel your career forward. These networks can be both formal and informal in nature and can change throughout one's career as our needs change. Your network can include people you've never even met in person, local colleagues, and those who you have an established relationship with. Choose networks that fulfill a variety of professional needs. Joining a professional organization is a very good way to begin creating relationships with those in your chosen field. Also, seek the services of a career coach. This person can serve a variety of professional needs. A career coach can help you outline specific steps to help you attain success, guide you through career transitions, and help you determine what the best career fit is for you. The person should be an experienced professional who has success in this area. They should have clients who can speak to how they have assisted them in reaching their goals. It will be a substantial investment to hire a career coach, so ensure you do your due diligence in selecting the best person to work with in this area. Finally, assess your own skills. Understanding your weaknesses, strengths, personality type, emotional intelligence quotient, and any other barometer for who you are at your core can be extremely helpful in managing your career. The more we know about what our makeup is, the better chance we have of positioning ourselves in careers and opportunities that will bring out the best in us and provide us with the greatest level of satisfaction. Personality assessments, questionnaires to trusted advisors, and other fact-finding exercises like these will be instrumental in moving us forward into work that we love. Consider taking a personality test such as Myers-Briggs to really understand where you fit into a scale and how you relate to others on the scale. By employing multiple career management techniques, we provide ourselves the tools, knowledge, and readiness to move our professional goals forward and help to ensure that we are discovering the best versions of ourselves on both a personal and a professional level. This is a worthy investment that we should put into practice for years to come. Would you like access to job offers or be invited as a speaker for a fee at an upcoming event? How about gaining insights into other organizations and fields of business? If you answered yes to any of these questions, and you probably did, networking is your ticket. By definition, professional networking is a deliberate activity to build, reinforce, and maintain relationships of trust with other people to further your goals. In terms of administrative support professionals, we don't always network as part of our role, but it's crucial in shaping and advancing our career paths. Jonathan Long, founder of Market Domination Media, offers 8 tips to help grow your network that I have found helpful. I have found these effective for professionals who don't have much networking experience or to whom networking does not come naturally. They are, first, make your presence noticeable. It's important that people know what you are doing and what you have in the works. You can do this by keeping in touch with your professional contacts via email, social media, and face-to-face meetings. Second, attend networking events, both on and offline. Every industry has conferences that provide networking opportunities. There are also local meetups and organizations that hold regular events for building your network. Third, hang out at the same places the people you want to connect with can be found. This creates an opportunity to strike up conversation and connect. This could be online as well as offline. Fourth, networking isn't just about receiving. It's about giving as well. It's important for you to share your knowledge and expertise and offer to help when you see an opportunity. There is actually a term for this. It is called positive networking, which means discovering what you can do for someone else. In other words, networking is not about you and how others can help you. Instead, it's about others and how you can help them. You can also serve as a connector by introducing people you know. Fifth, be a good listener. We shouldn't try to dominate the conversation by talking about ourselves primarily. We should instead listen to other people talk. People naturally love to talk about themselves. So if you can show that you are genuinely interested in what they have to say, it will help to build that connection. 6, we shouldn't be afraid to ask for what we need. It's better to be direct in this area and to be upfront. The answer could be a resounding yes. 7th, you should be thinking about cultivating long-term relationships that are mutually beneficial for both sides. By fostering these types of connections over time, you may experience multiple ways in which you can help each other that you can't even begin to imagine currently. Lastly, you should follow up with everyone you connect with. This can be done by email, letting the person know it was a pleasure to meet with them. I have personally used networking in several instances to land paid speaking engagements and job opportunities. Most recently, after I won an award for an administrative professional development program that I created, I stayed in touch with several people in the organization. That connection resulted in my speaking at their conference 3 years in a row. Building your professional network is not about quantity, but rather about quality. You want a rich, diverse network that allows you to give as well as receive and serves as another important tool in your career tool belt. With so many different and viable networking avenues, it's never been easier to get and stay connected. Have you ever noticed that many working men and women in a variety of industries are members of professional organizations? They often attend meetings and conferences that these organizations put on in an effort to enhance their skills and increase their networking capacity. These same type of organizations exist for administrative professionals, and it is important to join them. As a member, you gain a wealth of knowledge that will position you for greater levels of success. As an administrative support professional, it is important to not only me, but my organization as well, that there are resources that provide the most up-to-date information to do my job effectively. I also want the opportunity to network with other like-minded professionals in my field. This is so important so that you can share resources, not operate in isolation, and continually grow and develop. Without access to relevant and current information, it becomes that much harder to compete and strive for excellence in your daily work. One such organization is the American Society for Administrative Professionals, also known as ASAP. ASAP membership is free, and they provide a number of professional development resources such as a newsletter and regularly scheduled webinars. They sponsor an annual Administrative Professionals Conference where they honor members who have made innovative contributions to the organization for which he or she works. Winners receive the organization's Eureka Award. I was fortunate to be the recipient of this award, and winning it has led to several opportunities that I would not have had previously. Since receiving the award, I have developed a relationship with the ASAP organization that led me to becoming one of their advisory council members, speaking at their annual conference, and conducting a webinar for all of their members on Administrative Professionals Day. Fostering and maintaining this relationship with this organization has helped grow my career. Another widely known professional organization is the International Association of Administrative Professionals, also known as IAAP. This organization provides excellent training and knowledge for the administrative support professional. They too have an annual conference where administrative support professionals can network and learn while visiting different places around the country. IAAP provides certifications that designate you as a certified administrative professional once you have completed the required prerequisites. I recommend doing so because it can help with pay increases, promotions, and subject matter expert recognition. It is extremely beneficial for administrative support professionals to join professional organizations that support them in their career. Membership lends credibility as you advance in your career, and it helps you to grow in your chosen field. By pointing to this on your resume, others will know that you are serious about what you do and how you do it. I encourage you to join one or more of these organizations today. Do you regularly invest in personal and professional development for yourself? Are you and your supervisor in agreement on what you need in terms of training? Do you have a written improvement plan for short and long-term development? If you answered no to any of these questions, it's definitely time to start. Ongoing training and development for administrative support professionals are those learning opportunities where we are able to invest in ourselves in order to stay on the cutting edge of new technology, office procedures, and how to provide the best level of support for those you work for. Higher educational opportunities, on the other hand, is education beyond high school that normally leads to the attainment of a degree or certification. This type of education is usually necessary when seeking promotions or additional leadership responsibility. Training and development is important for you in your career for several different reasons. First, when you are allowed and even encouraged by your employer to take training, you will feel a greater sense of investment in you. When we feel valued in this way, we are more inclined to do more on a daily basis and go deeper in our level of commitment. Secondly, training and development strengthens skills that are already strong and helps us to reduce mistakes and gain confidence in the areas where we are weak. I am not one to spend a great deal of time on my weaknesses, but there are times when I am required to perform job functions that I'm not very good at. For me personally, that is in the area of financial analysis and budgeting. It is something I am responsible for, but where I feel inadequate. I have tried to overcome that by taking training workshops and collegiate classes in this area. I have also made it a point to be mentored by my boss as well. All of these efforts have helped me to gain greater aptitude and understanding. Next, training and development helps us to stay on top of current trends and technological advances. We are then able to share this information with our employers as a subject matter expert. Finally, a reason to invest in oneself through training and development is to prepare you for your next job assignment. I am a firm believer in creating a vision for your life and career. As you begin to do this, you will be able to outline the appropriate skills that will be needed in order to advance to the next level. There are a number of professional development and training resources available through the Association for Administrative Professionals in the way of webinars, conferences, certification, and regularly published newsletters. There are also administrative professional courses available on this platform. Additionally, organizations such as SkillPath and Fred Pryor offer a variety of in-person seminars geared for administrative support professionals. Today is a good day to get moving and begin exploring the enormous amounts of opportunities available to invest in training and development for yourself. This is a responsibility that belongs to each of us, and we cannot wait for someone else to do this on our behalf. Will you be able to operate in excellence when called upon to take on higher level roles? Do you have the necessary aptitude to compete with others? Administrative professionals today are required to serve multiple roles that demand a greater level of skill than traditional clerical tasks. We are often asked to be a project manager, chief of staff, budgeter, and possess high degrees of people skills in order to be successful. These expectations make the pursuit of a higher level of education justified and in some cases necessary. When I began as an administrative support professional 30 years ago, I started working for a Fortune 500 company with my associate's degree in office management. This served me well for many years as it provided all of the necessary skills I needed for entry and mid-level secretarial positions. However, as I began to seek out higher level positions, an advanced degree, such as a bachelor's degree in business, was preferred in job postings, and I knew it would give me a competitive edge over other candidates. I pursued my bachelor's degree in management to position myself for leadership roles. It also assured executives that I had the necessary skills to be more of a right-hand assistant to them. Management skills are helpful for delegating work, understanding financial information, organizing and planning, communication, interpersonal and relationship skills, and problem solving. These are many of the skills that are covered when obtaining a bachelor's degree, and these are also the types of skills higher level executives are looking to their support staff to be versed in. Many employers will offer a tuition reimbursement to their employees in pursuit of higher education. Personally, a large portion of my bachelor's degree was paid for through the tuition assistance of one of the companies I worked for. It was a tremendous benefit that not many people in the company took advantage of. Even if you don't want to necessarily pursue a degree or don't know what direction you would like to go into, it still makes sense to take college classes that can be helpful in your current job or one that you would like to do in the future. There are also a number of certificates that can be extremely helpful to administrative support professionals. These include project management certification, event planner certification, certified administrative professional certification, Microsoft Office certification, and several others. These designations can be extremely helpful for an administrative support professional in performing their daily work tasks. They will also be instrumental on your resume when you are looking to advance your career through promotion and greater leadership responsibility. It's never too late to go back to school and pursue further education, certifications, licenses, and designations. And it's extremely important for administrative support professionals to stay prepared for changing executive expectations and to stay in step with ever-changing technological advances.